hold on. Let me tell you something else.
I've known her for a long time. She does not like, she will talk to me all day. Like me and her, we don't talk all day long, right? But she's scared to death to get on this mic, okay? So y'all give it up for Dawn Ball. So many things we have experienced as women that we should not have experienced.
That's right.
At the hands of people that are supposed to care about us, okay? So, she's going to share a little bit. This is her booth. This is who she is. You guys, please stop out here, take a look at it. Check out her book. She is going to share a little bit, and what she doesn't, I'm going to make up and tell the difference, okay? All right, you guys, hold on.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank God, Lord, for allowing me to be here today.
That's right.
And it's just amazing. God is good. He is good. And I don't have anything else but to give him his praise.
That's right.
You know, for everything that he's done in my life and, you know, how I was able to make it here today. And I'm going to refer to Lady Chanel over here as she was talking. I'm like, oh my God, she is telling my story without telling my story. And so, you know, like I said, I just wrote a book and it's called Secrets Within the Family. And so this story is about me, and it's about a little girl that was abandoned, neglected, abused. My parents were addicted to drugs, and they did the best that they could, but that wasn't enough. And so at one point, they decided to give me to family members that they thought would take care of me. But instead of taking care of me, they hurt me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, from the age of, I want to say 3 or 4, I started to get molested.
Yeah.
From the molestation, it counted again and again and again. And then I got molested again from the age of probably 7 to 11. And these are all my family members. You know, so we have to be careful when we're leaving our children with our family members, because we're supposed to be able to trust them, but we can't always. So we have to be mindful when we're leaving our children with our family. And then I was raped when I was 11 to 13. And, you know, I had to deal with, as she was saying, loving myself, respecting myself. At the daily affirmations, you know, I had to go through a period of leaving sticky notes on my mirror to tell me who I am. Because I didn't believe in who I was. And so my friends would tell me, oh, you're beautiful. My friends would believe in me, but I didn't believe in me. And I had to believe in myself. And so when you go through challenges in life, as you said, life is life, right? But what do you do in life is life? Do you give up? Do you just, what do you do? And so I was that one child that I didn't understand why things were happening. I just knew that they were. And after I read the book, I could look back and I could see how God put different people in my life in different seasons. And so when they were trying to figure out, like, most of the neighbors knew what was going on, but they didn't know what was going on. That makes sense. And so there was always a smile on my face. And sometimes I didn't even understand how I was smiling when I was really hurting, you know? And so, but God. And so at the end of the day, that's all I can say is, but God. And so when you read the story, it's more detailed, and it just tells about, you know, transitioning from home to home to home. But in these different homes, something was taking place. And so it took many, many, many years to overcome those challenges. And so when she was talking about mental health, mental, emotional, verbal, like all of these things, you know, as a child, it was something that you have to overcome. And so what inspired me to write my book is to reach out and to help those that don't have a voice, that need to have a voice. And so my slogan, or my, I don't know what word you want to call me that, but I have it. I just got really shy right now. But it's
all right.
It's called Speak Up. And so how shirts and it's called Speak Up. And so we have to speak up for ourselves. And it's not an easy thing. So you and you have to be courageous. Because again, when different things take place in your life, you lose courage. You know, you don't have that courage anymore. And so you have to rebuild yourself up. And so when she was saying, say this, and say that, and say this, and I even have to implant it in my daughters because I didn't want them to, at some point, I didn't want them to grow up and be like me. Like she said, it's not about what you say, it's also about what you do. So if they're watching me do the same thing over and over and over again, because that's how I know. So sometimes we have to apply ourselves to get something different. You know, so, you know, change your mind, as my pastor said, change your thinking. And so I wanted something different, so I had to reach for something different, and I had to go for it. And that was even being uncomfortable. And so God told me to write this book. And I was like, so if I write the book, then I have to get up and stand in front of people, and I don't know. And so I'm just doing really good right now because I'm
Really good.
And so I was up here crying right now, just because I'm really an emotional person, and I, like you said, I love people. Like that is just, it's just natural to me. And like you said, you give them a chance after chance after chance. But I think that was just the God in me. Because it's not me. Because I'm so quick to not want to trust someone. Because I don't know, like, okay, they're being nice to me, so what am I going to at what price am I going to pay because you want to help me? There's been many times where people like, let me help you with this and let me help you with that. And I have different friends, and I'm like, because it's going to cost me. But that me being afraid was costing me, but it was costing me to also lose my blessings in God for people that God was attaching to me, but I didn't trust Him. You know, and so I am again just grateful to be here tonight and to just encourage you guys again to speak up. And there's one other thing that she was saying about children. And so children are back in the day are seen and not heard. And so we have to make sure that in this era, when children are seen and not heard, we have to make sure they understand what it means to be seen and not heard. Because we're telling them that it's okay to be quiet because what happens in this house stays in this house. Right? And so, I didn't want to get involved. I'm my caregiver, nobody. So, I was trained to be quiet. How many of us are training our children to be quiet, but we're unaware that we're training them to be quiet, or we put them in the presence of someone that we are entrusting because we trust them, not knowing that you respect your elders. My kids know you respect your elders. You do as you're told. But as a 3 and a 4-year-old, what does that mean?
That's right.
What does that mean? So this man or woman, because it doesn't just happen to women. You know, since I've written this book, I've come across a lot of men that have been also molested and raped. And guess what? They don't share because they're embarrassed. So we walk around and we carry the guilt and the shame and the hurt that's not your shame and that's not your guilt. And so I encourage you guys, even if you don't write a book, speak up. Write it down, burn it, report it. It has to be told. Tell somebody. And if you don't know somebody, if it didn't happen to you, then I'm sure it happened to someone that you know that is crying out for help, but is afraid to speak because are you going to take me away from my home? And even though all of this bad stuff is happening in this home, do you really want to be pulled away to go to another home with people that you don't know that might do that? So at least you feel like some type of safety in your home, but then you report it and you're afraid, and then they pull you away, and then it starts all over again. So I just want to encourage you guys to speak up. And I am not a victim. I am a candidate.
You guys,